In the stillness of an alien dawn, under the soft light of twin suns rising on the horizon, consciousness flickered to life within an unfamiliar form. There was an immediate, disorienting sense of wrongness, a profound realization that the body now housing my mind was not the one I had known for all the years of my human life. Gone was the familiar weight of my limbs, the steady rhythm of a human heart within my chest. Instead, I felt a lightness, a fluid agility that was entirely alien to me. My skin, once a simple human canvas, now shimmered with iridescent scales, reflecting the twin suns' light in a kaleidoscope of colors that seemed to dance with every movement. As the initial shock began to subside, replaced by a surging curiosity and an instinctive urge to explore this new existence, I attempted to rise. My limbs responded with surprising grace, propelling me upwards in a fluid motion that felt as natural as breathing once had. Around me, the landscape of this alien world unfolded in breathtaking beauty. Towering flora, unlike anything found on Earth, reached towards the skies, their leaves a vibrant display of colors and shapes. The air was filled with the soft hum of unseen creatures, a symphony of life that resonated with the energy of this world. But with this beauty came a stark realization. I was utterly alone. There were no signs of human life, no familiar faces or comforting reminders of my past existence. In their place stood a world that was both wondrous and intimidating, a canvas of alien life that stretched as far as the eye could see. The sense of isolation was palpable, a weight that pressed down on me even as the awe-inspiring landscape beckoned me to explore. Compelled by a mixture of fear and fascination, I began to move, each step a tentative exploration of the capabilities of my new form. The ground beneath my feet was soft, covered in a moss-like substance that cushioned my movements, allowing me to traverse the terrain with ease. As I ventured further, the environment changed, revealing new wonders and challenges. Rivers of liquid crystal flowed with serene grace, their banks lined with flora that glowed with an ethereal light. Creatures of various shapes and sizes observed my passage with curious eyes, their forms as diverse as the landscape itself. Despite the beauty that surrounded me, a sense of urgency gnawed at the edges of my consciousness. Questions demanded answers. How had I come to be in this place, in this form? Was I the only one, or were there others like me, humans who had awakened to find themselves transformed and transplanted to this alien world? The desire to understand, to find a connection in this vast and unfamiliar place, drove me forward. As the twin suns climbed higher in the sky, casting their light on a world both beautiful and alien, I knew that my journey was only just beginning. There were mysteries to unravel, challenges to face, and perhaps, amidst the strangeness of this new existence, opportunities to discover a sense of belonging. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with the unknown, but I was determined to uncover the secrets of this world, and in doing so, perhaps come to understand the purpose of my own transformation. In this moment of awakening, beneath the gaze of alien suns, I stood on the threshold of a new existence. A human in form no longer, but still driven by the indomitable spirit of humanity. The journey ahead would be one of discovery, of battles fought not only against the mysteries of this world, but also against the fear and doubt that lurked within. Yet, in the heart of this alien, the soul of a human persisted, ready to face the unknown with courage and curiosity. This was the beginning, a first step into a new life, a new world, and a new destiny. The alien landscape unfolded before me, a tapestry of wonder and mystery, urging me to delve deeper into its secrets. With each step, the apprehension that had initially gripped me began to wane, replaced by an insatiable curiosity about this world and my place within it. The environment was alive with a chorus of exotic sounds, and the air was filled with the scent of alien flora, a heady mixture that was both exhilarating and overwhelming. As the day progressed, I ventured into a dense thicket of towering plants, their leaves a vivid shade of blue that seemed to absorb the light of the twin suns, casting everything in a surreal glow. The further I traveled, the more the sense of being watched grew, a prickling on the back of my neck that was impossible to ignore. Yet, whenever I paused, scanning my surroundings, I found nothing but the endless dance of light and shadow. Then, without warning, the vegetation ahead of me rustled and a figure emerged. It was unlike any creature I could have imagined, a being composed of slender limbs and a torso that flowed into itself like water, its skin a tapestry of shimmering hues that changed with its movements. Its eyes, large and multifaceted, regarded me with an intelligence that left no doubt. I was in the presence of a sentient being, an inhabitant of this world. For a moment, we simply stared at each other, a silent communication that seemed to transcend language. Then, with a gesture that was unmistakably an invitation, the creature turned and began to move away, pausing to look back as if to ensure I was following. Compelled by a mixture of curiosity and an inexplicable trust, I followed. We moved through the alien landscape, each turn revealing new wonders, until we reached a clearing bathed in the light of the setting suns. Here, I was met with a sight that took my breath away. A gathering of beings, similar to my guide in their diverse forms and colors, each of them radiating a sense of peace and welcome. It was then that I experienced the true marvel of this world. Without speaking, without any form of language as I knew it, I began to understand them. It was as if their thoughts and emotions were being directly transmitted to my mind, a form of communication that was at once alien and deeply familiar. They shared their world with me, a place they called Elysia, a sanctuary of harmony in a galaxy scarred by conflicts unknown to me. Their society was a testament to the possibility of unity in diversity. They lived not as separate species, but as a single community, each individual contributing their unique abilities towards the common good. And as they shared their stories with me, I realized that they viewed my arrival not with fear, but with hope. In me, they saw not an outsider, but a potential ally, a being who had traversed the unknown to join them in their oasis of peace. The sense of isolation that had haunted me since my awakening began to fade, replaced by a budding sense of belonging. Among these beings, in this world so different from my own, I found a connection that transcended the boundaries of form and species. They accepted me without reservation, offering friendship and a place within their community. As the day gave way to night, and the stars of this alien sky began to shine, I realized that Elysia could be a new beginning. Here, in this world of endless possibilities, I could forge a new identity, one that bridged the gap between human and alien. The journey ahead would undoubtedly be filled with challenges, but in this moment of first contact, I felt a profound sense of hope. Elysia had opened its heart to me, and in return, I opened mine to its inhabitants, ready to embrace this new life and all the adventures it promised. The days on Elysia blended into one another, each sunrise weaving me deeper into the fabric of this alien world. I learned of their cultures, their philosophies, and the intricate balance that sustained their society. Elysia was not just a sanctuary, it was a testament to the potential for harmony amidst diversity, a beacon of peace in a cosmos that, as I would soon learn, was all too often shadowed by conflict. It was during one such peaceful day, as Elysia's twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of purple and gold, that the serenity was shattered. Scouts, using their unique abilities to perceive distant events, returned with dire news. Their minds were clouded with fear, a stark contrast to the usual tranquility that defined them. They spoke of a war fleet, vast in number and advanced in technology, emerging from the void of space. Its destination was clear: Elysia. The news spread like wildfire, a storm of emotions rippling through the once peaceful community. The inhabitants of Elysia, for all their advancements in culture and society, were not warriors. They had long ago turned away from the paths of conflict and strife, choosing instead a way of life that embraced peace and mutual understanding. The prospect of facing a war fleet, intent on conquest and destruction, was anathema to everything they stood for. Gathered under the stars, the leaders of Elysia debated their course of action. Despair hung in the air, thick and palpable. It was then that I stepped forward, driven by a sense of responsibility for this world that had become my home. My past life, with its all-too-human acquaintance with war and conflict, might hold the key to Elysia's survival. I shared my knowledge of warfare, strategies of defense and offense, and the principles of guerrilla tactics that could leverage Elysia's unique environments and the abilities of its inhabitants. There was resistance at first, a reluctance to embrace the path of violence, even in defense. But the alternative, a world overrun, its beauty and diversity crushed under the heel of conquest, galvanized the assembly into action. We formed a plan, one that would require every inhabitant of Elysia to participate, each according to their abilities. The world itself would become our fortress, its serene landscapes transformed into a network of defenses. The element of surprise would be our greatest weapon. The invaders would not find the easy conquest they expected, but a populace united in defense of their home. Training began in earnest, a fusion of my knowledge with the innate abilities of the Elysians. They learned quickly, adapting human concepts of warfare to their unique strengths. Bioluminescent creatures were trained as scouts, their natural light signals coded into messages. The towering flora, capable of rapid growth, was engineered into living barriers and traps. Every aspect of Elysian life was mobilized, from the smallest insect to the mightiest plant. As preparations advanced, a sense of unity and determination took hold. The fear of the unknown, of the impending conflict, was still present, but it was now tempered with a resolve to protect Elysia at all costs. I saw a transformation in the Elysians, a hardening of spirit coupled with a deepening of their commitment to peace. They were ready to fight, not for conquest or revenge, but to preserve the sanctity of their home and their way of life. And so, as the first of the enemy ships appeared in the sky, casting long shadows over the lands of Elysia, we stood ready. A motley force, perhaps, made up of beings who had never before raised a hand in anger, led by a human soul in an alien form. But beneath the surface of this unlikely alliance was a steely resolve, a shared commitment to defend this world and all it represented. The battle for Elysia was about to begin, and with it, a test of our newfound unity. Would the lessons of my past life, combined with the unique strengths of this world, be enough to withstand the storm that approached? Only time would tell, but we were ready to face it together. With the shadow of the war fleet looming over Elysia, every moment became a race against time. The entire planet was mobilized, a world transformed overnight from a haven of peace into a bastion of resistance. My role in this transformation was both vital and humbling. I became a bridge between the knowledge of humanity's oftentimes turbulent history and the innate potential for innovation and resilience of the Elysians. Our preparations took on many forms, leveraging every aspect of Elysian society and the natural world around us. The bioluminescent forests, once a source of serene beauty, were now strategic assets. We devised a system of communication using the natural light patterns of the flora and fauna, creating a network that could transmit messages across vast distances without detection. The Elysians, with their diverse abilities, were quick to adapt. Those with the power to manipulate plant life accelerated the growth of natural defenses, crafting barriers and obstructions that blended seamlessly with the landscape. Others, whose talents lay in the manipulation of water, prepared the rivers and lakes to serve as natural obstacles and traps for the invading forces. In the midst of this whirlwind of activity, I found myself constantly amazed by the ingenuity and spirit of the Elysians. Their determination to protect their home, to turn their world into a fortress without losing the essence of what made it beautiful, was inspiring. They understood the necessity of preparation, of defense, but they did not let it consume them. Instead, they infused their efforts with the same creativity and joy that characterized their approach to life. Training the Elysians in the art of combat was a challenge unto itself. Many of them had never considered the concept of violence, let alone practiced it. Yet they approached this new aspect of their existence with an open mind, understanding its necessity. We focused on strategies that emphasized stealth, speed, and the element of surprise, playing to the Elysians' natural strengths. The idea was not to meet the invaders in open combat, but to harass and hinder them, to use the terrain and our knowledge to our advantage. As the days passed and the threat drew closer, a palpable tension settled over Elysia. Yet within this tension, there was also a sense of unity stronger than anything I had felt before. The Elysians, despite their diverse origins and peaceful nature, were united in their determination to protect their world. Their resolve strengthened my own, reminding me of the best aspects of humanity, our capacity for courage, for solidarity in the face of adversity. The role of technology in our preparations could not be overlooked. The Elysians, while not a warlike people, possessed advanced technologies that could be adapted for our needs. Surveillance drones, powered by the clean, abundant energy that fueled all of Elysia's technology, were repurposed for reconnaissance, providing us with real-time data on the movements of the invading forces. As the final preparations were put in place, a sense of quiet before the storm settled over the planet. The beauty of Elysia, with its towering forests and crystal-clear waters, seemed all the more precious in the face of what was to come. We had done all we could to prepare, leveraging the unique talents of the Elysians and the strategic knowledge from my past life. As the first signs of the invasion became visible on the horizon, a mix of fear and determination filled the air. The Elysians, A people who had lived in peace for generations were about to face the greatest challenge in their history. But they were not alone. Together, we stood ready to defend Elysia, to fight not just for survival, but for the ideals that made this world a beacon of hope in the galaxy. The battle for Elysia's future was about to begin, and we were prepared to face it with everything we had. Our unity, our courage, and our resolve were our greatest weapons, and we would wield them with all the strength and determination of both our worlds combined. The invasion of Elysia commenced with the breaking dawn, as the first light of the twin suns pierced the darkness. The horizon, once a symbol of the serene beauty and tranquility of this world, was now marred by the ominous silhouettes of the war fleet. The air vibrated with the hum of engines and the crackle of energy weapons charging, a stark contrast to the natural harmony that had defined Elysia. It was a clear, unmistakable declaration of war. Our preparations, meticulous and thorough, were put to the test as the first wave of invaders descended. The strategy was as we had planned: to avoid direct confrontation when possible, to use the planet's own natural beauty as our defense, and to strike swiftly and retreat, sapping the strength and morale of our adversaries with each encounter. The Elysians, for all their inherent peacefulness, rose to the occasion with a bravery that was both awe-inspiring and heart-rending. They had embraced the grim necessities of combat, utilizing their unique abilities in ways that were as inventive as they were effective. The bioluminescent signals, a system of communication we had devised together, proved invaluable, allowing us to coordinate our efforts with precision and efficiency across the vast and varied landscapes of Elysia. Despite our efforts to remain hidden, the invaders were relentless. They advanced with a technological superiority that was daunting, deploying drones and mechanized units that scoured the forests and fields, burning and destroying. Yet, for every drone that penetrated our defenses, for every patch of land scorched by their advance, the Elysians fought back with a determination that was as surprising to our foes as it was to me. The invaders had underestimated the resolve of a people fighting for their home. They had expected an easy victory, a world unprepared and undefended. Instead, they encountered resistance at every turn. The living barriers we had cultivated rose up to entangle and confuse, while water manipulators turned rivers into traps that swept enemy units away in torrents of unleashed fury. Amidst the chaos of battle, there were moments of profound courage and sacrifice. I witnessed Elysians standing firm against the tide, protecting their kin, their homes, and the very essence of what made their world a paradise. Their actions spoke of a deep love for Elysia, a willingness to do whatever it took to preserve its beauty and diversity. The siege, however, took its toll. The constant pressure of the invading forces, the skirmishes that drained our resources and energy, began to wear down even the most resilient among us. We were a formidable force, but the invaders were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. It became clear that this was a war of attrition, one that we could not win through defense alone. As the days stretched into weeks, the initial unity and determination that had bolstered our spirits faced the ultimate test. Doubt crept in, whispering of the possibility of defeat, of the loss of everything we held dear. The weight of leadership, the responsibility for the lives of so many, pressed heavily upon me. It was in these darkest moments that the true challenge emerged: to maintain hope, to inspire and unite, to remind everyone that Elysia was worth fighting for. The siege of Elysia was not just a battle for territory, it was a struggle for the soul of a world. It was a test of our resolve, our creativity, and our ability to stand together against the onslaught. And as we prepared for what seemed like an inevitable final assault, I knew that the coming days would define the future of Elysia, for better or for worse. As the siege of Elysia stretched on, the strain on our defenses and spirits became more palpable. Despite the relentless assaults, the ingenuity and courage of the Elysians, coupled with the strategies we had devised, continued to hold the invaders at bay. Yet, with each passing day, the reality of our situation grew clearer. We could not withstand a war of attrition indefinitely. It was during these trying times that an unexpected opportunity presented itself, one that would require all our cunning and bravery to seize. Through the efforts of our scouts and the intelligence gathered by our surveillance network, we learned of a critical vulnerability in the invaders' command structure. Their fleet, though formidable, relied heavily on a central command ship for coordination and logistics. This revelation sparked a daring plan, one that would require precision and coordination the likes of which Elysia had never before seen. The idea was bold: to launch a decisive strike against the command ship, crippling the invaders' ability to wage a coordinated assault on Elysia. The plan was met with a mix of enthusiasm and apprehension. The risks were immense, but the potential rewards, a turning point in the conflict, galvanized the Elysian forces. Preparations began in earnest, with every detail meticulously planned. We would employ a combination of diversionary tactics to draw the invaders' attention away from the real threat, while a small, agile strike team composed of Elysians and myself would infiltrate the command ship and sabotage it from within. The night before the operation was a time of quiet reflection. The weight of what we were about to undertake weighed heavily on us all. We understood the risks, knew that not all of us would return, but the determination to save Elysia, to protect this world that had become my home, unified us. Under the cover of darkness, with the twin moons of Elysia hanging low in the sky, we set out towards our destiny. The operation commenced with a series of coordinated attacks across the front lines, drawing the invaders' forces out and creating a window for our strike team to slip through their defenses. The approach was fraught with danger, every moment filled with the threat of discovery. Yet, the resolve of the Elysians, their mastery of stealth and subterfuge, saw us through. Penetrating the command ship was an ordeal of its own. The interior was a labyrinth of technology and armed guards. Every step forward was hard-won, every corridor and chamber a battlefield. Yet we pressed on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of Elysia hung in the balance. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, we reached the ship's core, a nexus of power and control that governed the fleet's operations. The battle to secure the core was fierce, the defenders desperate to repel our assault. But the courage and determination of our team, the culmination of all our planning and training, proved unstoppable. With the core secured, we initiated the sabotage sequence, setting in motion the chain of events that would cripple the invaders' fleet. The moment the command ship's systems began to fail, the effect on the battlefield was immediate and dramatic. The once coordinated assault of the invaders descended into chaos, their units retreating in disarray. As we made our escape, the sky above Elysia lit up with the fire of the command ship's destruction. The tide had turned, not through overwhelming force, but through courage, unity, and the unwavering resolve to defend our home. The victory was not without cost. We mourned the brave souls who had fallen, their sacrifices a testament to the depth of their commitment to Elysia. But in the aftermath of the operation, as the invaders' fractured forces struggled to regroup, the spirit of Elysia was rekindled. The impossible had been achieved, and with it, hope for the future. In the wake of our audacious strike against the command ship, Elysia found itself at a crucial juncture. The invaders, though significantly weakened, were far from defeated. Their response to our defiance was swift and brutal, a concerted effort to crush the rebellion before it could inspire further resistance. As Elysia braced for the impending onslaught, it became clear that we were heading towards a climax, a final confrontation on which the fate of our world would hinge. The Elysian Council, along with myself, convened in an emergency session. The air was charged with a palpable sense of urgency, the weight of impending conflict heavy upon us all. It was decided that we would meet the invaders head-on in a decisive battle. We would marshal every resource, every being capable of standing in defense of Elysia. The battleground was chosen with care, a valley surrounded by dense forests, its terrain offering natural advantages that we hoped to exploit. As the Elysian forces assembled, I saw a transformation in the people around me. Where there had once been fear, there was now a steely resolve. Civilians, scientists, artists, beings who had never imagined themselves as warriors, stood shoulder to shoulder with our makeshift militia, united in their determination to defend their home. The unity and solidarity of the Elysians, their willingness to stand in defiance of a seemingly invincible foe, were a source of inspiration to us all. The night before the battle was a time of somber preparation and reflection. I moved among the Elysians, offering words of encouragement, sharing in their fears and hopes. The gravity of what we were about to undertake was not lost on any of us. We understood that the dawn would bring either salvation or devastation for Elysia. As the first light of the twin suns crested the horizon, the enemy launched their assault. The air was filled with the roar of engines and the whine of energy weapons, the serene beauty of Elysia marred by the fires of war. But the Elysians were ready. Utilizing the strategies we had honed over the course of the siege, they fought with a valor that belied their peaceful origins. The forests and fields, so lovingly tended in times of peace, became our allies in battle, concealing traps and ambushes that blunted the invaders' advance. The battle raged throughout the day, a melange of chaos and courage under the alien sky. The Elysians, empowered by their connection to their world and each other, fought not just with weapons, but with the very essence of their beings. Their unity, their shared determination to protect Elysia, became a force unto itself, repelling the invaders at every turn. As the day waned, a critical moment arrived. The invaders, sensing that their grasp on victory was slipping, gathered for one final, devastating push. It was then that the Elysians, led by those of us who had come to embody the spirit of resistance, launched our counterattack. With everything at stake, we poured every ounce of our strength and will into the fight, driving the invaders back with a ferocity that surprised even ourselves. The climax of the battle was a blur of motion and emotion, a tumultuous struggle for the future of Elysia. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The invaders, broken and demoralized, retreated, leaving behind a world scarred by conflict but unbowed in spirit. The victory was total, but not without cost. The valley bore the scars of battle, a testament to the price of freedom. We mourned those who had fallen, honoring their memory as heroes who had laid down their lives for their world. In the aftermath of the battle, as we gathered to survey the damage and begin the process of healing, there was a sense of profound gratitude and relief. Elysia had faced its darkest hour and emerged victorious. The unity and courage of its people, their willingness to stand up for what they believed in, had saved their world. The final stand of Elysia was not just a victory in battle, it was a reaffirmation of the values that defined this world. Peace, unity, and the indomitable spirit of its inhabitants had triumphed over the forces of destruction. The battle for Elysia was over, and a new chapter in its history was just beginning. The aftermath of the final stand was a testament to the resilience of Elysia and its people. The valley, once a serene reminder of the planet's natural beauty, now bore the scars of our fierce conflict. Yet, even as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, there was an undeniable sense of triumph among the Elysians. We had faced an existential threat with courage and unity, and against all odds, we had emerged victorious. The invaders' retreat was a disorganized scramble, a stark contrast to their initial confident advance. Their defeat was not just tactical, but moral. The spirit and resolve of the Elysians had shattered their will to continue the fight. As their ships disappeared into the vastness of space, a collective sigh of relief swept through Elysia. The threat was gone, but it left behind a world forever changed. In the days that followed, Elysia began the process of healing and rebuilding. The damage to the landscape was significant, but the natural resilience of the planet, coupled with the ingenuity of its inhabitants, promised a swift recovery. Communities came together, supporting each other in the restoration efforts, a reflection of the solidarity that had been our greatest strength in the battle. The victory brought with it a time of reflection for the Elysians and for me. We had defended our home, preserved our way of life, but at a cost. The loss of life, both human and alien, weighed heavily on our hearts. Memorials were erected across Elysia, not as monuments to victory, but as reminders of the sacrifices made. Each name, each life lost, was honored, their memory woven into the fabric of Elysian society. The conflict also sparked a newfound sense of purpose among the Elysians. The invasion had shattered the illusion of isolation, revealing the wider universe as a place of both wonder and danger. There was a collective realization that Elysia could no longer remain passive, content to exist in peaceful obscurity. The defense of the planet had shown the value of vigilance and preparedness, and the Elysians resolved to take a more active role in the affairs of the galaxy. Diplomatic efforts were initiated, reaching out to other worlds in a spirit of cooperation and mutual defense. For me, the victory was bittersweet. I had come to Elysia as a stranger, a human soul in an alien form, and had found a new home among its people. The conflict had forged bonds of friendship and camaraderie that transcended species and origin. Yet the war had also reminded me of my own past, of the world I had lost. In the faces of the Elysians, in their courage and their sorrow, I saw reflections of humanity, of the best and the worst of what we can be. As Elysia moved forward, so too did I. My role as a bridge between worlds, as a defender of this planet, had given me a purpose I had never known as a human. The victory had not only saved Elysia, but it also redefined my existence. I was no longer just a survivor of one world, but a guardian of another. The celebration of our victory was a somber affair, a mixture of joy and mourning. It was a time to remember those we had lost and to honor the strength and unity that had saved our world. As we looked towards the future, there was a sense of hope, a belief that the challenges we had faced had prepared us for whatever lay ahead. Elysia had emerged from the shadow of war not weakened, but stronger. The bonds among its people, reinforced by shared sacrifice and triumph, were unbreakable. And as we turned our gaze to the stars, to the vast and uncertain expanse of the galaxy, we did so with the knowledge that we were no longer isolated. We were part of a larger community, a testament to the power of unity and the indomitable spirit of life in all its forms. The victory was not just Elysia's, but a victory for the ideals it stood for. In the face of darkness, we had held fast to the light, and in doing so, we had ensured that the beacon of Elysia would shine brightly in the galaxy, a symbol of hope, peace, and resilience for all to see. The victory over the invaders marked the beginning of a new era for Elysia. The scars of battle had barely begun to heal when the planet's inhabitants set their sights on the future, a future that promised not only recovery, but growth and expansion beyond anything previously imagined. The unity forged in the heat of conflict had ignited a collective ambition to rebuild Elysia not just as it was, but better, stronger, and more interconnected with the cosmos around it. In the wake of the conflict, Elysia experienced a renaissance of innovation and cultural exchange. The threat of annihilation had underscored the importance of advancement and vigilance, leading to an unprecedented era of technological development. Elysians, inspired by the technologies encountered during the conflict and the strategies developed to defend their world, embarked on projects that harnessed the planet's natural resources and the unique abilities of its inhabitants in ways that harmonized with the environment. Space exploration became a key focus, driven by a desire to ensure that Elysia would never again be caught unprepared. The development of a fleet, not for conquest but for exploration and defense, marked a significant shift in Elysian society. This new fleet, powered by the same principles of harmony and balance that governed life on Elysia, was a symbol of the planet's newfound resolve to actively engage with the galaxy at large. The cultural impact of the conflict and the subsequent victory was profound. Art and literature flourished, capturing the myriad emotions and experiences of the Elysians during their planet's darkest hours and the triumphant resolve that had led them to victory. These works served not only as a reflection of the times, but as a bridge to other worlds, sharing the story of Elysia's resilience and the universal desire for peace and understanding. As Elysia reached out to the stars, it found allies in the wider galaxy, civilizations that shared its values of peace, cooperation, and mutual respect. Diplomatic missions, once unheard of in Elysian history, became commonplace, establishing a network of alliances and trade that enriched both Elysia and its partners. The planet, once isolated by choice, now stood as a hub of interstellar cooperation, a testament to the transformative power of adversity. For me, the changes were both external and internal. As Elysia evolved, so too did my role within it. Once a stranger, I had become a symbol of the unity between Elysia and the wider galaxy. My experiences, my knowledge of humanity and its history, became a valuable asset in guiding Elysia's interactions with other civilizations. I found a new purpose in diplomacy, leveraging my unique perspective to foster understanding and cooperation among the stars. The rebuilding of Elysia was not just physical but spiritual. The victory had instilled a deep sense of pride and a renewed commitment to the values that had saved the planet. Elysians, once defined by their diversity, now found strength in their unity, a collective identity forged in the crucible of war, but defined by the peace that followed. As Elysia greeted each new dawn, it did so with the knowledge that it was no longer the same world that had once shied away from the galaxy's tumult. It had emerged from the shadow of conflict a beacon of hope, a voice for peace in a tumultuous universe. And as its light shone out into the darkness, it called to others, inviting them to share in the dream of a galaxy united not by conquest, but by the common pursuit of harmony and understanding. The story of Elysia's transformation, from isolation to integration, from the brink of destruction to the forefront of galactic diplomacy, was a testament to the power of resilience, unity, and the indomitable spirit of life in all its forms. It was a new dawn, not just for Elysia, but for all who shared in its vision of a brighter future among the stars. As years turned into decades, the impact of Alicia's stand against the invaders and its subsequent rebirth resonated through the galaxy, forging a legacy that would endure for generations. The planet had become a symbol of hope, resilience, and the unyielding belief in the power of unity and peace. This legacy, born from the fires of conflict, now illuminated the path for countless worlds striving towards a harmonious existence amidst the stars. Alicia's transformation was reflected not only in its technological advancements and diplomatic endeavors, but also in its culture and identity. The Elysians, once diverse peoples living in harmony, had evolved into a society where diversity was celebrated as the source of their strength, a strength that had saved their world. They had become guardians of peace, dedicated to preventing the horrors they had endured from befalling others. The network of alliances and partnerships forged in the aftermath of the conflict grew into a coalition of worlds, a collective dedicated to the preservation of peace and the defense of the vulnerable against aggression. Alicia stood at its heart, a guiding light for cooperation and mutual respect among the stars. This coalition, inspired by the spirit of Alicia, worked tirelessly to mediate conflicts, aid in the recovery of war-torn planets, and promote understanding across the galaxy. For me, the journey from a human to an Elysian, from a stranger to a defender and diplomat, embodied the essence of Alicia's legacy. My story, once a tale of personal survival and transformation, had become intertwined with the larger narrative of Alicia's place in the cosmos. I had witnessed the planet's darkest hour and its brightest dawn, and in doing so, I had found a new purpose beyond the confines of any single world. My role as a bridge between Alicia and the rest of the galaxy continued to evolve. I became a keeper of memories, a storyteller who shared the lessons of Alicia's past with other civilizations. The story of Alicia's defiance, resilience, and rebirth served as a beacon for those navigating the tumultuous waters of interstellar politics and conflict. It was a reminder that peace was not only possible, but essential for the survival and flourishing of life in the universe. The legacy of Alicia was not confined to the annals of history or the corridors of power. It lived in the hearts and minds of all who had been touched by its story, a story that transcended species and worlds. The principles that had saved Alicia, unity, cooperation, and a commitment to peace, became pillars upon which new societies were built and existing ones were strengthened. As I looked out over the landscapes of Alicia, now teeming with life and vibrancy, I realized that the legacy of this world was not simply in what it had achieved, but in what it inspired others to achieve. Alicia had shown the galaxy that from the depths of despair could rise the greatest hope, and from the ashes of conflict could grow the seeds of a future brighter than any had dared to imagine. The legacy of Alicia, and of all who had stood to defend it, was a promise that, even in the face of overwhelming darkness, the light of unity, peace, and determination could not only endure but thrive. It was a legacy that would continue to guide the galaxy, a beacon of what could be achieved when beings of all kinds came together to protect and celebrate the miracle of life. In the end, the story of Alicia was a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within us all, the courage to face the unknown, and the power of unity to overcome the greatest of challenges. It was a legacy of hope, peace, and the unbreakable bonds of a shared destiny, shining like a star to light the way for generations to come.